Welcome to Master English Stories, where real lives inspire real change, and every word helps you grow stronger in English and in life. Today, we bring you the powerful story of a girl who had nothing. No money, no electricity, no support, but she had a dream. While the world around her said no, she said, "I will try." While others slept, she studied. While others laughed at her, she kept walking forward. In a world where dreams are often crushed by poverty, and where silence fills the homes of those forgotten by progress, one girl dared to hope. She was not born in a big city. She had no rich family, no modern education, no comforts. Her shoes were torn, her notebooks were borrowed, and her house was made of mud and prayer. But inside, her heart burned a quiet fire, an unshakable belief that she was meant for something greater. This is not a fairy tale. It is the true kind of story, the one that grows from tears, sacrifice, courage, and faith. This is the journey of a poor village girl who walked barefoot through dust and doubt and became a doctor. Her name was Amina, and this is her story. In a forgotten corner of the country, nestled between the dry hills and cracked earth, there was a village where life moved slowly. In this village, under a thatched roof of mud and straw, lived a girl named Amina. Her family had nothing. No electricity, no running water, no savings. The little they had came from her father's work on borrowed land. Her mother cooked whatever could be found, boiled rice when they were lucky, just water and salt when they were not. Amina was the fourth of 7 children. Their house had only 2 rooms, one where they all slept close together during the freezing nights, and another small room used for cooking and washing. Despite the poverty, Amina's eyes sparkled with something rare curiosity. She asked questions about everything she saw. She watched ants and asked why they marched in lines. She stared at the stars and wondered what lay beyond them. But there was one dream that stayed close to her heart. She wanted to become a doctor. No one in her family had ever been to high school. The nearest health center was a 3-hour walk away. Many villagers died from small infections or childbirth complications simply because they didn't have access to proper medical care. Amina had watched neighbors bury loved ones who might have survived if a doctor had been nearby. She remembered each face. That's when her dream was born, not for money, not for fame, but to be the doctor her village never had. Her dream, however, was too big for her small world. Most villagers laughed when she said she wanted to study. Some told her father, "Teach your daughter to cook. What use is school for a girl?" But Amina's father, though poor, believed in her. He had once dreamed of becoming a teacher, but had left school after 4th grade. He saw in Amina a second chance. With great effort, he enrolled her in the village school. The school was nothing more than a cement structure with broken windows and a rusted tin roof. Desks were old and books were few. But Amina didn't care. She woke before the sun to sweep the house, fetch water from the well, and then walk an hour to school. After classes, she helped her mother prepare food, wash clothes by hand, and look after her younger siblings. At night, she studied by the faint light of an oil lamp. One day, a new teacher came to the village school. His name was Mr. Karim. Young and energetic, he noticed Amina on the first day. She was quiet but sharp, always answering questions with confidence. Mr. Karim began giving her extra books. Though old and torn, the books opened a new world to her. She learned about cells, the heart, the brain, and diseases she had never heard of. While other children played, Amina read. She was different, and everyone knew it. By the time she was 12, she had topped every exam in her school. But her education could go no further in the village. If she wanted to continue, she had to go to the district school in the city nearly 40 kilometers away. The fees were higher and the journey was longer. Her father was hesitant. The family was already surviving on very little. Sending Amina to the city would mean sacrifices for everyone. But Amina didn't beg. She simply started working harder. She woke earlier, worked longer, and studied deeper. Mr. Karim helped her apply for scholarships. He helped her write letters to organizations that supported village girls. She sent applications everywhere. Months passed. Then, one afternoon, a letter arrived. She'd been selected for a scholarship. It would cover her school fees, hostel stay, and books. Her heart raced as she read it again and again. She packed a few clothes, a notebook, and a second-hand dictionary. Her mother handed her a pouch with dried fruit and a prayer. Her father said nothing, only hugged her tightly. Then she boarded the bus to the city, staring out the window, determined to return one day, not just as a visitor, but as a doctor. The city was a different world, loud, crowded, fast. Amina was overwhelmed by the buildings, traffic, and faces that rushed past without a glance. The school was 10 times bigger than her village school. The other students had polished shoes, smartphones, and parents who were doctors or engineers. Amina felt like a stranger. Her village accent made some laugh. Her clothes made her stand out. But she didn't let it shake her. She studied harder than anyone. Every morning she read for an hour before class. Every evening she stayed back in the library. She asked questions, took notes, memorized textbooks, and made her own flashcards. She used the internet in the library to watch videos about biology and chemistry. She sat in front during every lesson. Still, there were moments of loneliness. She cried silently some nights, missing her family, her village, the quiet of the hills. When exams came, she was often sick with anxiety. Once she fainted during an exam due to hunger. She had skipped dinner for 2 nights to save her meal coupons. But her results were always at the top. Her science teacher, Ms. Layla, noticed her dedication. "You are going to be a brilliant doctor," she said once, placing a hand on her shoulder. Amina didn't smile. "I'm not brilliant, I'm just trying not to fail." After finishing school, she applied to medical universities across the country. Once again, scholarships were her only hope. She wrote long, heartfelt essays explaining her journey, her dream, her promise to return to her village and help the forgotten people there. One day she received a phone call. She had been accepted into the top medical college in the region with a full scholarship. She was speechless. She walked outside and looked up at the sky. Her dream was still far, but the path had opened. Medical school was the hardest thing she had ever faced. The classes were intense. The textbooks were heavier than anything she had carried before. The medical terms were confusing, but she kept going. During anatomy class, she stayed behind to study the human skeleton. During physiology, she recorded lectures and listened to them again at night. She worked part-time as a tutor on weekends to send money back to her family. Sometimes she skipped lunch to buy a new lab coat. During hospital rounds, she saw death, pain, and blood for the first time. She learned how to give injections, how to read x-rays, how to hold a patient's hand when they were afraid. She failed one subject in her 3rd year. It crushed her. For 2 days she didn't eat, but then she stood in front of the mirror and said, "I didn't come this far to stop now." She passed the re-exam with one of the highest marks. After 7 years of study, sleepless nights, hospital work and sacrifices, Amina finally graduated. She stood on the stage in her white coat as her name was called, Dr. Amina Noor. Tears filled her eyes, not just for the degree, but for every step that brought her there. She returned to her village as promised. With some help from donors, she built a small clinic. It had just 2 rooms and a bench outside. But for the villagers, it was a miracle. They brought their sick children, their pregnant daughters, their aging parents. She treated wounds, gave vaccinations, delivered babies, and taught mothers about nutrition. She started a program to educate girls. "They need to dream too," she said. And so, in the same dusty village, where people once laughed at her dreams, Amina became a symbol of what is possible when a person refuses to give up. She didn't just heal the sick, she healed a community. Her name became known across the region. But she didn't care for fame. She still lived simply, still ate plain food, still wore the same watch her father gave her years ago. Because in her heart, she was still the same little girl, walking barefoot on a dusty path, dreaming of white coats and healing hands. And now she wasn't dreaming anymore. She was living it. She was a doctor. She was Amina. And she had changed everything. And that was the story of Amina, the girl who walked through poverty, pain, and pressure, and still rose. She didn't just become a doctor. She became a light, a voice for the voiceless, a healer for the forgotten, and an example for all of us. Amina's story teaches us that success is not about where you start. It's about how far you're willing to go. When you believe in your dream, when you work even when no one sees, when you get back up after every fall, you don't just change your life, you change the world around you. Thank you for watching Master English Stories, where real stories help you learn English and learn how to live. If Amina's journey touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because someone out there needs this story, just like Amina once needed hope.